The Challenger disaster that unfolded on live television, 1986.
January 28, 1986, was an exceptionally cold day in Florida, where freezing weather is rare. The beaches near the Kennedy Space Center were crowded with people who had come to watch the launch of the Space Shuttle Challenger, which had been postponed on several preceding days to great disappointment. The flight had been postponed 6 times due to bad weather and mechanical issues. There had been another 2-hour delay earlier in the morning. A part of the launch processing system had failed during fueling. Like all space launches, this one was spectacular. The ship rose on a rearing tower of flame, and bright rockets arced into a clear blue sky. But then something horrifying happened. 73 seconds after liftoff, the rocket's white vapor trail burst into huge billowing plumes, branching off at odd angles. People who had observed previous launches were puzzled, but cheering from the crowd continued until it was abruptly silenced by an announcement over the loudspeakers, obviously a major malfunction, and, after a pause, "We have a report from the flight dynamics officer that the vehicle has exploded." Later, experts learned that the Challenger had not exploded. Although most media continued to say that it had, actually, it had disintegrated due to aerodynamic forces after a fire caused by the cold weather's effect on a poorly designed joint seal that damaged one of the solid rocket boosters. But from below, it looked like an explosion, and the outcome was equivalent. All 7 members of the crew were killed. Tapes salvaged from the wreckage showed that. The instant before breakup, Smith said "oh," but nothing else was heard. Debris rained into the Atlantic Ocean for more than an hour after the explosion. Searches revealed no sign of the crew. These were the first deaths to occur during a U.S. space flight. 3 astronauts had died by fire 19 years earlier in a capsule test on the ground, but there had been nearly 25 years of space flight, 55 U.S. missions in a row, without a single in-flight fatality, an almost miraculous record. Challenger broke up in the explosion, but the forward section with the crew cabin was severed in one piece. It continued to coast upward with other debris, including wings and still flaming engines, and then plummeted to the ocean. It was believed that the crew survived the initial breakup, but that loss of cabin pressure rendered them unconscious within seconds since they did not wear pressure suits. Death probably resulted from oxygen deficiency minutes before impact. 20-something years later, an editorial in the North Carolina newspaper Mount Airy News summed up a view that is often expressed throughout the United States: think when that shuttle flight ended, when McAuliffe and the other astronauts died, something was lost in our nation. Space was no longer the final frontier, something to be explored and tamed. It became a dangerous place, empty, and the value of exploring it became an empty promise that couldn't possibly live up to the danger or expense.